Welcome, everybody, to our volunteer training. This is a short training for those of you who are going to be volunteering in our International Student Orientation. So, welcome. I'd like to start by asking you to think about a few things, and we're going to discuss this in person during our meeting, but you can start thinking about those things. The first one is, how did you feel when you first arrived in Canada? Were you excited? Yeah, I'm here finally after such a long time of wait. Were you afraid? Maybe afraid of the culture, maybe afraid of what you're going to find in Canada, maybe afraid of all new things or how you're going to do in your studies. Were you anxious of this new adventure you were taking? Were you shocked? Like when you first arrived in Canada, there were things that were completely different than things in your country. So were you shocked? Another thing I want you to think about is what helped you settle? Was it making friends that made you feel a little bit better? Was it calling home? Maybe calling home every day, maybe talking to your parents or friends on a daily basis via WhatsApp or maybe some other resources that you have. Was it attending orientation? So if you were at orientation and you attended orientation, did it make you feel better? Having the right tools in your hands to actually succeed while you're in Canada. Was it talking to someone? So maybe someone talked to you on the first day. Maybe was a friend that you made during orientation. Maybe throughout the time that you were at the college. So did that help you? And why do you want to help new students join a Fleming College? Some people, for example, they join orientation as volunteers because they were here and another volunteer helped them. And they felt really good and they want to pass, the same kind of feeling to other students who are just arriving. Um, and then what services you use that helped you succeed in your program and adapting to Canadian life? So, did you go to touring, for example, or you were at the library? Did you go to different events? Maybe you were at the International House events and you met more people. Maybe it was some event with the New Canadian Center. Maybe it was an event that Fleming College promoted, like the student associations. So, what really helped you to succeed in your program? So think about academically, right? Maybe it was meeting friends and studying together with someone, or maybe adapting to Canadian life. Did you join maybe a church? Was it a group of people? Maybe you met someone from your own culture and then you felt better, right? So think about those things. We're going to talk about this in person, but it's just a start for you to think about how you felt and all the things that helped you to get where you are now. Now, why is it important to volunteer? There are a few things you have to keep in mind, and thank you so much for being here. One is you're going to receive a co-curricular record, CCR, and verified participation for your portfolio and curriculum. What that does is every time you go to a job and you present your resume, you can present your CCR file, which describes exactly what you did in different positions. So not just with international, but maybe you are also volunteering with other departments at Fleming College, right? You're going to make valuable connections at Fleming and within the community. So you're going to meet people who are going to be here on the day of orientation who are not Fleming at Fleming College, but they are from the community. And just by interacting with them, you may have other opportunities for volunteering and even for a job in the future, right? Job referencing when applying for jobs. So those of you who volunteer and also come during the orientation, not just the training, you will be able to use me as your reference for a job. And that's kind of important, right? Sometimes we don't have references when applying for jobs. And since you're in Canada, this is your first Canadian experience of really working in a Canadian environment where we're going to teach you different things, how to interact with people, and that goes a long ways in your resume and also when you're applying for a job. And you're also going to learn about other cultures, right? Because you're going to be interacting with the students from different cultures, but also with new students. You're going to learn about them. You're going to have a chance to interact with them and learn a lot about different cultures other than yours. Right. So in terms of the international orientation, it's mandatory attendance for all new students. I ask that if you are going to volunteer, that you be here unless something, like an illness or something happens to you. But if you commit to this, that you be here, it's very important. And also, when giving a reference about you, I'll be able to talk about, your punctuality. They're going to ask, is this person punctual? Can you trust them? This kind of stuff also comes up in questions when your employer is contacting me for reference. So it's going to be in person here at the Sutherland campus. We're going to have Frost students who are in Lindsay also come here. And it's going to happen on Friday, May the 1st, 2026. And we're going to be in the lecture theater C2125 here in Sutherland. All right, so what will the in-person orientation look like? We're going to have different sessions happening during the day. Students are going to arrive on campus at 8:30 a.m. They have from 8:30 to 9 o'clock to register, and then they have all the sessions inside of C2125. They have a little break between 10:45 and 11, but then they have to return to C2025, 2125 to continue the sessions. So in the afternoon, so after 11 o'clock, coming back to the C2125, they're gonna meet also with the police constable Zaid Ben Walla, and it's a very interesting story. I encourage, if you are assigned, to come in and listen to the stories and also learn about what made this person who was previously an international student at Fleming College to now be in the position where they are now. It's a really interesting story. So I encourage you to watch. So after these presentations, and it's going to end up with each at 12:30, new students are going to move on to the networking lunch, and it's going to be at the lower cafeteria here at Fleming College, where they're going to interact among themselves, but also with you. So you're going to also have lunch with the students. After lunch, almost at the end of the lunch, they're going to have a more care presentation talking about special cases when students are going to be able to charge more care for special requirements, and then they're going to go to the networking and fun activities in the afternoon, which are going to be part of it as well. So moving on, this is what a ticket will look like. So students are going to register through Eventbrite. If you were at orientation before, you have already done this for yourself, but the students are going to register through Eventbrite and they will receive a ticket. It could be that they have a ticket printed or they'll have the ticket on their phone. Depending what it is, you're going to be learning how to scan the tickets as well. In the tickets, you see, this is an old one, by the way, but you will see the reference where the students have to go. You will see the name of the student, and you see mine. This is my order, so it has my name. You're also going to see what they have chosen as their lunch. In this case, it could be pizza, it could be hamburgers. I will comment during our meeting what the choice is going to be. So let's talk about the roles, volunteer roles. There are several roles, and you're going to be assigned depending on how we go on our meeting and what your preferences are going to be. But I'll give you just an idea of what the roles are going to be, and depending how how you are in terms of talking to people. If you're outgoing, etc., then you're going to choose, or maybe tell me what kind of roles you feel more comfortable doing. So the first one is the volunteer check-in. Usually it's done by our own ISS volunteers and staff. We may ask one of you to stay at this desk once you check in, and your job will be to basically distribute name tags, also the vests that volunteers are going to be using, making sure that everybody signs in, right, at this table, and also receive any other material that they're going to be using. So if you're, depending where you are located, you're going to be receiving different things that you're going to be doing during orientation. Okay, so different material. So moving on. So the first role would be the greeters. So greeters are those people who say, "Hey, welcome to Fleming. We are so happy that you're here today. And what's your name? Introduce yourself. Say, hi, my name is Christina, and I'm in the practical nursing program. I'm semester 4. Which program are you? Did you do it? Like, was it good? Your trip, your arrival, okay? Do you have housing? How are you feeling? Do you need anything from us? Do you have any questions so far? I'm here to help you. I'm a student volunteer working with International Student Services. So I'm here to support you and anything you need today. Okay, so that would be like a greeting person, welcoming students as they first arrive. A second group of volunteers, we will also be greeting students the same way. We also give students a name tag, and also checking if they have the ticket, which is what I just showed you. So the name tag, all the students receiving name tags, they have to write their name right away on the name tag and put it on their lapel, or maybe on their coat, whatever they're going to be using, wearing that day, and making sure that the students have that. Okay, and also making sure that the students have a ticket. If they have a ticket, that's great, no problem. They can just move on to seat 1 to 5. If they do not have a ticket, these volunteers will direct the students to the information desk, where the information people will help them to register on the day. So let's say a student come and they didn't even know there was a registration. They can register right then and there, and then just go to seat 1 to 5 once we make sure that they have registered online. Okay. So remember, there will be a QR code. You don't have to do anything with that. Just really making sure the students have that QR code and that they have their name tag on them. That will make it easy for other people to recognize who they are as well. All right. So once they're sent to C2125, which is the lecture theater, okay, they are going to find volunteers at the information table there. These volunteers are there to first provide information based on the handbook. And here is an observation for you. You need to read the handbook. Everybody has to read the handbook. On the day that we are going to do this, our meeting in person, I'm going to test your knowledge on the handbook. So please make sure that you read it. Yeah. So everything you're going to be answering students is based on their handbook. So if you haven't read, you don't know, you wouldn't know how to answer. Okay. Also, those who are going to be in the information booth, they need to know the handbook. Okay. They need to know the information there. Also, they're going to scan. So the same location, volunteers will be scanning their tickets. So now the students have their name. Volunteers are going to scan their ticket. Also going to confirm that they have received their bracelet. So they're going to have a bracelet that identify which programs they are, depending on the color. And they also going to receive a ticket voucher. And this ticket voucher is for them to go for lunch. So we will have their choice in terms of if it's a meat hamburger, maybe it's a veggie hamburger. They're going to receive that ticket and they should keep that ticket with them so that they can go for lunch. It's also on this table, they're going to receive a more care bag. Inside of this bag, there will be some snacks for the students, but also information about their health insurance. And they're going to receive everything there in front of C2125 in the information and check-in booth for students. Another role that volunteers may have is taking students from one point to another. So these students will have a flag, just like you see, the ones you see in the picture, and they are going to help students to go from one place to another. It could be from when they greeted to C2125. It could be after a lunch hour when they take students to the lower cafeteria. It could be from the lower cafeteria to taking students to the washroom. So they are going to have that flag, flaming flag, where students can follow you in groups or maybe just one student, depending on the situation. Okay. Another role students you may have is outside of C21 to 5. As I said, checking students with the QR code. This is part of the information desk that's going to be outside of C21 to 5. We may place you a little bit to the side so that you are helping, two people are helping students, two different students to scan their QR code and go inside of C2125. Nobody goes inside of C2125 unless the QR code is scanned. So here's an example of the volunteers who are going to give the wristband. So this wristband, for example, is green, and they are going to be wearing the wristband throughout the day. Make sure that you put the wristband on them. Don't just give the wristband because they don't know how to do it. So you're going to be putting the wristbands on them, and they need to keep that wristband all day long, okay? Because they're going to be doing different activities, and these activities require that they identify other students with the same wristband as theirs. Okay, so here's just an example of the volunteers who are distributing the lunch vouchers and also the more care bags. Now, let's talk about the roles inside of the theater. So before students go inside of the theater, they're going to find someone there as well to greet them. Greet them once again. Hey, how are you doing? Now that you're all prepared, I see you have your wristband. Did you get your ticket? Did you put in a safe place? That's your food, so don't lose it. Welcome to Seat 125 to your international orientation. And please come in. Yeah, it's like welcome someone to your house. Please come in and use a smile, and be in a good mood because students are having their first interaction with us that day. Some of them are nervous, so you want to make sure that they are welcome. So treat the student the way you would like to be treated, right? So there's nothing better than a smile and receive a smile back. So make sure you're smiling and you're being energetic and you're enthusiastic about having them here. It's like, yeah, welcome to our home. Yeah, okay. So make sure you keep that energy up. All right, so inside of the theater, once they pass through you and you greeted them and welcomed them in your house, which is Fleming College, volunteers who are inside of Seat 125 are going to be helping students to sit. Make sure that they sit at the bottom of the theater. Why? Because we want them to be together. We want them to talk to each other, not be isolated. Some students tend to sit at the back. That's fine during the class, but here we need them to interact as much as possible. So try to get them to more of the middle of the theater in both sides, but starting at the very low part where they're close to the stage. All right, so once they go to their sessions and they're in the sessions, they finish their session, there's also the volunteers who are going to be helping them with a crowd control. Crowd control is when you have a lot of people and you see them lining up, and sometimes there are too many people in one place. You're just going to come in and say, "Hi, excuse me, can you line up this way?" Or maybe you're going to divert a little bit the lineup so that you're not blocking other people passing by. So your job is to look around and see, are there too many students here? Can I control this line in a way that's going to help the flow? So your job is to keep an eye on what's going on around and help to control the crowd, right? Not to have maybe a problem with too many people in the same place, right? And disorganized, right? We are organizing people so that they know what they are doing. So all of you are going to have a chance to interact with the students, being at lunch hour, being during the activities after lunch, but you'll be assigned to sit with the students. So it's very important that you sit with students, not just with volunteers, right? Some volunteers tend to sit all together. That's not the goal. The goal of this activity is to interact, to network. So it's going to be you and the new students, you and maybe someone from NCC. We're going to have people from the ISS staff also moving around and interact with the students during lunch. Is to be there for them, ask questions, be curious about their culture, but also let them ask you questions about yours, right? Speak, proudly about your culture and say where you're from. Like, I'm from Gujarat, and talk about your country. If they don't know where Gujarat is, explain where it is and what your culture is. What are the things that you do in Gujarat, and what also are the things that they're going to be able to do in Canada. So talk about your experiences, all about sharing your own experience with the students. All right, so after lunch, obviously, students are going to go into the networking activity. These activities are going to be fun. I'm going to explain a little bit later, but in each station, there will be a volunteer whose job is going to be to talk about the station. There are scripts ready for you to read. I encourage you to read the script and try to explain with your own words instead of reading directly from the script. With the time and depending on how many groups we have, you're gonna probably memorize all the information, but you can say that information with your own words. It's more natural than reading, right? So if you need to read, it's okay, but it would be nice if you could just talk about it. Yeah. All right. Also, another position that is available during the orientation are the floaters. The floaters, they don't have a specific position during orientation, but they do go to different places to help people take breaks. So, for example, during the orientation, you may be in a place standing too long. You can just request via WhatsApp, which is the platform we're going to be using to communicate with you. You can request that someone comes and stay in your place for maybe 15 to 20 minutes because you have to put your feet up. So we're going to send a volunteer there. So those are the floaters. They come to relieve you in terms of, giving you time to go to the washroom, or maybe you're not feeling well, or maybe you want to put your feet up. Maybe you would like to change places a little bit. We can do that using floaters. And there will be also a volunteer in the photo booth. To be in the photo booth, you need to be a little bit extrovert because you're going to ask people to look at you and smile or do funny faces or poses. So it's important not to go, say cheese. It's more than that. It's making them laugh. Take pictures when they are not looking, right? If you say everybody says cheese, you're preparing them to do like a fake type of a picture. But if you say, "Hi, everybody, look at each other," and kind of do poses and stuff, and start taking pictures, when you do that, you get a more natural reaction from people. So you're going to receive a document with the description of every single role. Make sure you read this document because you may fall into any of these roles, right? So it's important to know them all in case we have to move you from one row to another. We also have, and it's important to know that we're going to have the police representation this time. So the police, the New Canadian Center, and also the International Coffee House. They're going to be on campus. So it's important that you know that they're kind of part of the networking that we're going to be having that day. Make sure that you also connect with them. There will be an opportunity for you to sign up for future events with each, or maybe the New Canadian Center. Get to know them as well, since you're going to be in the community, and that will be good for you as well. Right? Maybe volunteering with them in the future. All right, so what's going to happen to you in terms of timing? It's important to know that arriving on time is crucial. When someone asks me about your participation in the orientation, we do, every coordinator, myself, we do keep track of how you interact with the students, if you arrived on time or not, how enthusiastic you are. All those things are important, and we do pay attention, because when someone phones and you use us as reference, we do make comments about your interactions, about how you were on the job, right? It's just like we would with anybody who worked for International Student Services. So it's important to keep that in mind. It is a job, despite being a volunteering job. We are paying attention to how you perform. Okay, so arrive on time, 7 a.m. From 7 to 7:10, you're going to be arriving, storing your backpacks and bags inside of International Student Services in C2125. You are going to check in outside, receive your name tag, receive your flag for your country, and also receive a vest. And once you check your schedule and you have your schedule, and you're going to be receiving your schedule before even when you come for our meeting. Only that the schedule is a draft until the day of, because some people, they do not come, and we have to move people anyways. If they are sick, we may have to move you. So it's important to double check where you are signed on the day of orientation. So after that, you're going to go to C2125. You're going to have a quick meeting with me. We are not going to be inside. We're going to be outside, actually. And I'm going to just talk to you and give you a little pointers, maybe reminders for the day. If there are any changes, that's when you're going to also learn about the changes. And at 7:45, I'd like everybody to assume their positions, to have their material in their hands and assume every position where they have to be. Then students are going to have a break between 10:45 and 11. It's important that during this time that volunteers are ready, especially if you are with the follow me flags, because the students will need to go to the washroom, and obviously we don't want them all in the same washroom. Make sure that you know where all the washrooms at Fleming are, close to C2125, because if that's full, we obviously going to be directing students to another nearby washroom, okay? So they only go for washroom breaks. Some students tend to go to Tim Hortons to get a coffee. Remind them this is not the time to get the Tim Hortons. It's the time to go back. There are important sessions going on, and we want them all inside of C2125 by 11 o'clock. Right. So there will be two groups of volunteers. Group one, and then group two. Group one, if you are in group one, when it's 11:15, you're going to leave your position and you're going to go for lunch. So you're the first ones to go for lunch. You are going to stay in the cafeteria after you have lunch. So you're going to have lunch with your peers. Students are not there yet, but you're going to have your lunch, and then you're going to stay at the cafeteria and wait for students to come. The new students are going to come towards the cafeteria. At 12:30, they arrive, and you will help control the lineup. So you're going to help them to be in line to receive their food. You're going to help them sit down and sit with friends. Encourage them to sit with friends who have the same wristband color. And then after that, after they're sitting, you can actually sit in each table. So each volunteer will go to each table and sit with the students as well. Remember that while you are at the table, ask them questions, introduce yourself. It's another chance that you have to network with the students, to know more about them, but also to tell about your own culture, your own experience in Canada. Okay. At 1:15, this group one will leave the cafeteria and go to their position for the networking activities in the afternoon. There will be several positions where you're going to be maybe taking part of. Some of them are games. Some of them are just stations where you're going to be talking about the station, and you're going to be assuming your position at 1:15. Okay. Group two. So group two will be inside or outside of C1 to 5. When it's 12:45, so a little bit later, what they're going to do is they are going to take students, right? So they're going to leave C1 to 5 and help students to go to the lower cafeteria. So they are bringing students to group one that's already there. Okay. So they will bring students at 12:30, and then once the students have received their lunch, you can then line up and then have your lunch. You're going to sit down with the students at this different tables. Even if there is a volunteer already there, you can have a maximum of 2 volunteers maybe sitting with the students. Try to see where there's no volunteers and go and sit at that table. It's another chance for you to network and also know more about the students, as I mentioned before. Okay. The networking and fun activities will start at 1:30 p.m. And you don't need to take them there. So once you're done, they will have instructions, and I'll be there telling them what to do. So they'll have instructions on what they have to do as a group. They likely are going to stay in the lower cafeteria first to figure out with members of the group how they are going to get to the activities, but you don't have to take them anywhere unless they ask, right? They could ask you, where is this? Where is that? Exactly. Okay. Once the students leave the cafeteria, so the second group, this is volunteers from second group, will assume their positions. That means that each station that students are going to go through, there will be one volunteer from group one that is already there, and you from group two will now join that volunteer. Okay, so there will be sometimes 2 volunteers in the same station. So this is the activity sheet that students are going to receive. They are going to receive instructions in group, that they have to be in group, they have to walk together, they cannot leave anybody behind. And in each station that they go, they're going to receive a stamp that they completed the activity. So do not give them a stamp unless they stop at your station and listen to what you had to say or play the game they had to play. Okay, and then they have to move on. Another thing that is important to say is that there's no specific orders that students have to follow these stations. Okay, the only thing that we ask is that students make sure that they finish the last station, which will be the photo booth. Probably the photo booth. I'm still checking to see if it's going to be a different station, but usually is the photo booth. And then they give back this sheet with the name of all participants of the group to the last volunteer, and then they are done the activity. They're welcome to go home. Okay, but this is basically the activity. It's just a sample. There may be some changes to this one, but it's a sample so that you can see where they go. So they could go, for example, start in International Student Services. They go there, they listen about ISS, they receive a stamp, and then they decide, you know what, let's do the memory challenge. And they go to memory challenge and they receive the stamp right here. And then they may decide to go to the, I don't know, guess country by emoji. So they go to that station and they receive the stamp here. So the stamp will always go with the color of the activity right beside it. It could be in different position, horizontal or vertical, but it's usually the same color. So what's the purpose of the networking and fun activities? Number one is to provide the students with a chance to network with other students, so they will be working together is a good thing, right? Making friends from the same program. If there's not students from the same program, it will be from the same school. So maybe there is a PN student with a social service student. They are from the health and wellness school. So it's good that they are going to be together. Um, you will see that most of these professions, like PSWs, personal support workers, nurses, they work together in the work environment. So it is important that they know people from other programs as well. The same for you, right? Okay. So another important thing they have to do is to interact and meet international student volunteers. So they are here to meet you. Why? Because you have the experience already. You've been in Canada for a while. You can kind of ease and kind of make them feel calmer and more comfortable knowing that you survived, right? And that you are here. And maybe you use some techniques that you can share with the students on how to be happy while you're away from home, because sometimes it can be very difficult to be away from home from your family members, right? Also to learn key information about services in Fleming. So every time they go to a station, they're learning about what they can do at that specific service, right? So if they come to ISS, they're going to learn that they're going to be able to check their documents, the immigration documents, with myself or Stefania, right? They're going to learn that they can also meet with us if they need to ask more questions or they have a difficult situation that they would like to discuss, right? So in different stations, they're going to learn what is available for them as services at Fleming College. But they also going to have fun and win a competition. So the group that arrives first and have the majority of the points, obviously, are going to get some prizes. All right. So how does it work? What is this networking and fun activity? How are students going to move? So new students, they're going to really receive a list of places that they have to visit, which is that color sheet that I showed you before. So this one here, right? So they're going to receive this, right? Together with the sheet, they're also going to receive instructions, which they have to read carefully among all the participants of the group, right? So everybody knows the information, and the information will say you have to walk together, you cannot leave anybody behind. You have to write everybody's name and take a picture of it if you want to share your information with them, right? It will show them, it will also tell them what are the last places they have to be, right? And we'll tell them that they can go in any direction they want and do activities at the order they choose to do, okay? So in each place, the volunteers who are going to be there will to run the activity or to talk about the places where they are. They have to listen to the information. They have to complete sometimes a mental challenge or memorize something or answer questions about something that they have heard before, or complete a physical challenge where they have to do something with their bodies or, answer or dance, right? It does not matter which order they follow the activities, except for the last ones, which I mentioned. And if there's already a group doing an activity, this is important. The next group can go to do something different, right? Because that group may be taking a little bit of time, right? Or if they choose, they can stay, right? Some activities are timed, right? And other ones are not. So it's not a rush. Make sure that when they stop at your station, you spend time telling them, answering questions, ask them if they had questions. And if you want to, you can even, challenge a little bit and ask questions. Like if I talk to an international student services saying that there are two or three international student advisors, and it's Stefania, Christina, and Rebecca, you can, at the end of the presentation, say, okay, so what are the names of your advisors? So you can test them, right? Make it fun. Once they finish the activity, they will receive a stamp. So you give them a stamp to their group card, which is the card that I mentioned before, and they can move on to the next location. There are only a few physical activities where students are going to be participating, and these are called physical or mental challenge. The first one is balloon cup challenge. The second one is the memory challenge. And the third one is guess the country by emoji, right? So these are the three challenges that students are going to have. We added another one, which is show us your dance move. And this activity is interesting because the students have to, at least one or two students from different cultures in the group have to choose a song and teach the other members of the group a dance move. So it was really interesting last time because we had a student from Mexico teaching Nigerians how to dance his dance from Mexico, but we had also Nigerians teaching Mexican students how to dance their dance, and it was really fun to watch them teaching each other and trying to catch the steps. Right, it was really good. All right. So volunteers are going, the ones that are timed, so there will be these activities that are timed, as I mentioned. You're going to record the timing of the how long the group took to complete the activity. Okay. Depending on the time, the group will be deducted, and that's me doing the math after. That's why it's important to record the timing correctly so that I can then determine how many points the students are going to be deducted, and that determine also the winner of all the activities. Okay. So the activities where students are learning about each department, they are not timed. That's why I said, take your time, talk to students, ask them questions, challenge them, ask questions back, test their knowledge, right? There's no timing for those activities, just the stamp, really. Students should not worry about how long it will take, as the information they learn will be tested in the memory challenge game. So the memory challenge is a test in Kahoot. So we use Kahoot for that, where students are going to be asked questions about all the departments at Fleming College, but also information they heard inside of the theater. So it's probably going to be one of the last activities that the students are going to be doing, because they need to go through everything and listen to everybody before answering the memory challenge. So that's before the photo booth. The memory challenge is probably going to be the last activity that students are going to be doing, right? Volunteers should encourage new students to ask questions, and the goal is for them to learn about each department they visit. You can test them with a few questions before they move to the next location. Okay? All right, next, let's talk about cleanup time. Between 3:45 and 4 o'clock, it could be before, depending how many students we have, and if everybody finished their activities, we will announce via WhatsApp for you to clean up. Okay? Usually it is before 3:45. If not, it will be 3:45, between 3:45 and 4. Make sure all the material that is in your station is back in the box, that you close that box and you bring the box with you to C2100. Okay? Very, very important. And that's for you because your CCR depends on this. You need to sign in, but you also need to sign out. Okay? Make sure you sign in and you sign out, because if you do not sign in, I cannot give you a CCR. Okay? So sign out. Here are some of the activities that I mentioned, just so that you can have an idea. This one, for example, is the name department Kahoot game. Is the one that it's going to be before they finish all the activities, where we ask questions and they are going to compete. Yeah, and this activity is timed. Another activity that I mentioned during the training is the balloon blow cup challenge, where they have to fill up a balloon and then they blow the cup, and the cup has to move from one side of the table to the next, and they have to do that in a certain period of time. Next is teach us your dance move, the one that I mentioned that the Nigerians were teaching the Mexican students to dance, and it was really fun. So they have to teach. Volunteers in this station should be very outgoing and also enjoy dancing because they could, also learn those moves with the students, right? Besides running the activity, you can also be part of it and have fun. And here's the photo booth, also one of the last activities that the students are going to be having during the networking activity. Another activity we have is Guess the Country by Emoji, where students are going to be figuring out what do emojis say, which country are they representing. So that's the end of our volunteering training. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you at the orientation volunteering training first. We're going to discuss and do some of these activities together. I'm going to have an activity for you as well. We're going to have some snacks for you. And then you're going to be prepared to be here on orientation day. All right. So that's it for now, and I'll see you then.